Yo. Hey everyone. This topic is pretty important to me, and it's a bit of a rant because I have this on my mind a lot. So I'm gonna talk and hope the best parts come out. Why do I want you to learn Reiki? Why am I doing this? I'm certainly not monetized right now, so why am I putting so much effort in? Well, to start with, I think that Reiki is a real thing. Now, I give all the props in the world to other forms of woo-woo science. So, for instance, I have received awesome tarot card readings. I don't necessarily believe in astrology, but I believe in archetypes. And whether it be tarot or the constellations, the zodiac, or even crystals, where people sort of divide up the archetypes of being into the different crystals and can draw energy from those archetypes through the crystals. I think that's all well and good, but I think a lot of that is a function of you interacting with those concepts with your mind and then your body reacting to your mind. I think Reiki is a real thing, and to describe that, I'll get a little sciencey, so bear with me if you can. There's three dimensions that we function in physical space with your body, right? And that's length, width, and height. So if you were to take a piece of paper, which is essentially a two-dimensional object, you can argue about like the width of it, or the height of it. If you, from that two-dimensional object, there is no three-dimension. If you were to take an orb like a beach ball and then suspend the piece of paper in the middle of it, the third dimension encompasses the second one and exists beyond it, right? In that same way, I think Reiki could be anywhere from fourth dimensional to, I think the quantum physicists are up to like 14 dimensions. So at any point in any of those dimensions that we know about scientifically, I think Reiki could reside. That being said, I think it resides definitely above the third dimension. Why do I think that? Well, if you've felt the love, if you've been in tune, if you've communed with the energy in whatever way you do it, whether it's music or art or whatever, then you have felt the bliss that comes from the union with your purpose and the communal experience of merging yourself, your identity, in with something larger, a larger force, be that the sound of the music, the idea of the art, or the bliss of union when you experience it with another person through like connection. The energy of Reiki is sort of like divinely guided that energy. And divinely is really a tough word, because I don't mean that some arbitrary god is sitting at the top of the Reiki disposal system and sends it out as they see fit. It's not like that at all. It's available, it's accessible in every place in the physical universe. You could go out to space, you could go halfway between here and Jupiter, and you could be sitting in a spaceship and you could put your hands together. I'm using one hand to hold, but you could put one hand and then the other hand like this, and you would be able to feel Reiki in the middle of it. There was a time where I thought it might be bound to the planet. I mean, I didn't know. And Usui and Takata, the people who started it, Takata bringing it to the United States through Hawaii, they didn't talk about science much. I mean, Hayashi, sort of the second big grandmaster guy right after Usui, who taught Takata, he was really big into medical science, but not like quantum physics and physics itself. As far as I know, not really any of them were into that. I mean, it was the 1930s, for Christ's sake. So as we understand that this energy is accessible anywhere, and yeah, it's like the other forms of woo-woo science where you do have to tune your mind a little bit to receive it, but it's not necessary to work at it in order to absorb it and get the benefits of it, in the same way that you kind of have to do a ritual in order to access the archetypes when you're doing it through like tarot or the zodiac or anything like that. And the reason for that is once you start getting in tune with the energy, you essentially pierce the ears of the pathway between you and it. And therefore, it can come up spontaneously without having to work for it. I tweaked my back pretty hard this past couple weeks. That's why I've been kind of off, not making videos for a while. And if you've been watching my channel long enough, you know that I am a skeptic. And even after over a decade of practice in Reiki, I still have issues with believing. And when my back, it was my, that sacroiliac nerve thing that like goes off your back through that hole in your hips. When I would use Reiki on it, when I would place my hand on it with the intent to do Reiki, or even using level 2, like the distance symbol, which, I'll probably talk about later, to treat it while I was doing something else, I felt it and it was eager to lend its assistance. And it is. And I think that that's a big reason of why people get caught up with Reiki, is because it sounds like, when I'm talking about it, it sounds like I'm almost talking about like the presence of a benevolent God. And that's very similar to religion, and that can turn a lot of people off on one hand. And on the other hand, there can be religious people who get the wrong idea about it because they're equating Reiki with their God. I think it's important for you to know Reiki and for everyone to know Reiki, because I honestly think that Reiki isn't even the right word for it sometimes. It is an energy force that exists in all things and all people and feels amazing the more you access it. And the more you access it for yourself, the more you heal through all of the different problems that you have, physical, mental, emotional, and otherwise. And as you do that, a way of saying it is like you raise your vibration, but a simpler way of saying it is you just become healthier. And healthy people do healthy things out in the world. And that's what I want. I want a healthy world. And I really do think that Reiki can help with that, especially from a fundamental level or even a moral level, in the sense of we're all connected to this energy. We're all made of this energy, our consciousness, and we have the ability to give it freely to each other instead of arguing and creating drama, which is using manipulation tactics due to a lack of the spiritual energy in order to draw energy from other people. Because you've seen it, I've seen it, and in a lot of these woo-woo videos online, they call it energy vampirism and stuff, but it's essentially just, you see it, people who feel bad, who want to feel good and don't know how, and become dramatic because of it. And I want to see less of that. I want to see more happy people. I want to see more enlivened people, and I want to see more people chasing their dreams. And that's really hard to do when you're exhausted from the day's labor. And I totally understand that. I've worked menial labor before. I know how exhausting life can be, and this energy can give that little bit extra to do a little bit more with our free time, whatever free time exists, than just miserably doom scroll through our phones. So there's that reason too, that Reiki can help people be healthy people, and healthy people do healthy things. They bring joy and happiness more often than they bring misery to the world. And from there, you can start sharing your gifts with the world, whatever they may be. And those gifts are a lot easier to find out and determine when you're filled with this radiant sort of content energy than constantly stressed out and feeling empty and lost without it. So I hope that helps clear it up. The way I see it is the more people that are doing energy work, the more connected and empathetic we will be, because the more energy we have left over to share with other human beings, and that can help with our relationships. And I think at the end of the day, that's how we make the world a better place. And that's not a bad place to start. So thanks, guys. Have a good week.